All right. Oops. There we go. Good morning. Been waiting for a day that I can do these in the morning and not late at night. Hope you're doing well. This is a video for March of 2023 for the sign of Capricorn. You can apply this to your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, or if you've got stellium placements, impactful transits that are happening in your chart at this time, or if it just feels like it's your message and ignore the rest. That being said, we're going to start off with some astrology cards, and then we're going to move into regular cards, and then we're going to pull some clarifiers on those cards. So, let's see. What's going on for Capricorn? All right, Capricorn. He's got Jupiter square air and opposition. So, Pluto has been touring your sign for a long time. It's still there right now. It's going to be moving into Aquarius, but, a lot of what can happen when Pluto is touring your sign is having experiences of power struggles, whether that struggle is with yourself or if it's with other people. But really what's happening is it's pushing for a rapid transformation and release within yourself of certain things in your life. It can be very challenging, very challenging. Pluto is not the most light-hearted planet in the world. It's very deep. For lack of a better phrase, it can be a mind fuck, right? Because Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, or it rules Scorpio. It's all about death, regeneration, release, letting go, trauma, sex, addiction. There's so much that falls under the wheelhouse. It's an eighth house thing. But with Jupiter square air in opposition, I feel like there's a lot of challenge that you're feeling right now. I feel like there's a lot of tension. It's impacting maybe your mindset, the way that you think, the way that you communicate. I think it's actually impairing your ability to be objective a little bit here, because I think it's pushing on these points, right? It's pushing on these points, because what it's doing is it's really begging you to grow and expand and potentially liberate yourself, right? Jupiter wants us to expand. It wants us to, maybe release ourselves from the box that we've kept ourselves in, or it wants us to think outside of the box, or it wants us to push beyond, right? It wants us to explore. Whether this is through other cultures, whether it's through religion, whether it's through traveling, there's so much here that can be done here. It doesn't necessarily have to be about being on foot and being involved in physical travel. It can be travel of the mind. So there's just a lot here that I think is being requested of you, and it can be tough. Now, if you're on the more positive end of that and you've been having this experience, or a positive experience in that, you could just be experiencing these challenges in your environment because it's challenging the people that you're connected to, or it's challenging the things in your life that you have been connected to. But let's get into it. Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. I'm trying to think of who else had very similar cards in their reading. I feel like this was in Virgo, Gemini, Cancer, Libra maybe had something very similar. Because there's a lot of repetitive cards here. But starting off, Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, there's something that hasn't fully formed yet or fully rooted. Maybe it feels like there's a missed opportunity here because we also have the Ace of Cups in the reverse. But we are starting off full force with Judgment in the reverse, Page of Cups in the reverse, Temperance card, Ace of Cups in the reverse, and the Lovers in reverse. So I definitely feel like there's a lot you're having to do on your own. That's how this feels. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it can feel bad. I think it can feel weird. But with Temperance there, it's almost like you're really needing to tune into like your spirit or your internal world, and you're really needing to marry it with the external. I think you're needing to kind of bring everything into a more like symbiotic nature. And maybe that's what you've been struggling with. Maybe that's where the challenges have lied. Because maybe in some way you have felt rejected with that Ace of Cups in the reverse, Page of Cups in the reverse, Lovers in reverse, Judgment in reverse, Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. There may be feelings of rejection here. There may be feelings of a lot of emotional release that's occurred. Pluto in your sign will do that for sure. In terms of like the power struggles, it's going to bring up those feelings. It's going to bring up a lot of feelings, and it's going to bring up a lot of emotions. So like this is very true to form right now. And I think it's still cruising the 29th degree for you guys, which is a pretty critical degree for it to be at. So there's a lot of emotions coming up here, and I feel like, this like divide that you're feeling, because it does translate as a divide. This divide that you're feeling, I think, is really trying to put you in touch with yourself. Like if you can use it to your advantage, if you can use it to grow, and if you can use it to expand beyond yourself, because Jupiter is connected to Temperance. Temperance is ruled by Sagittarius, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. I feel like if you can really tap into expanding the way you think, expanding the way you're perceiving the stuff, really being open to kind of taking a journey on a different path, I think it can bode very well for you. Now, with Saturn moving into Pisces, I feel like this could be challenging because I think that that's kind of what's missing here is this like spiritual element, or the need to maybe connect more to spiritual themes. And maybe you've been doing that, like maybe you've been working on that, but I feel like when Saturn, it just moved into Pisces, I feel like as it tours Pisces, there's going to be a bit more of exploration in this that could potentially challenge you, right? Especially if you're not connected to it. And that's why I'm like, I really want you to lean into this Temperance card, because I think Temperance, I mean, it's a very spiritual card. I think it needs to be leaned into, because where the physical world will not provide, the internal world and the spiritual world will. Whatever way you want to look at that or believe that, when everything is out of touch in our physical world, when everything feels chaotic in our physical world, we have to return to like what is our personal center within ourselves, whichever way we choose to do that. Whether it is through creativity, whether it's through movement, whether it is through learning, whether it is through stillness, like there's always something there. It doesn't have to be a religion. It doesn't have to be a guru. It doesn't have to be any of these things. I think it's just about coming back home to yourself. And maybe that's another part of this, is maybe you're questioning who you are. Because once again, there's this great divide. There's this uncertainty. And although you may have made peace with this uncertainty to some extent, I still feel like there's something about it that is rocking the boat. So let's go ahead and clarify. Judgment in the reverse, clarified by Judgment in the reverse. Okay. With the Lovers in reverse and the Knight of Pentacles, let's clarify the Page of Cups. We've got the Nine of Swords in reverse. Let's clarify Temperance. We've got the Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Five of Cups. Let's clarify the Ace of Cups in reverse. We've got the Ten of Cups, and let's clarify the Lover's card in reverse. Four of Swords and Three of Pentacles with the Empress in reverse. I don't think you're feeling good right now. And I'm not trying to make this like, you know, super sad, but I'm very aware that that is one of my jobs. One of my jobs here. It's very strongly outlined in my chart is to help people move through grief. So like, if this is not your thing, go somewhere else. There's plenty of tarot readers out there that can facilitate this for you. But there does seem to be grief because with Judgment in the reverse, we have Judgment in the reverse, the Lovers in reverse, and the Knight of Pentacles. There is this period where you're kind of pausing and taking a look at what do I do? Like, what do I do with this divide? What do I do with something that is not going the way that I planned? Or what do I do with something that is not coming together in the way that I would like? This isn't what I thought it would be, or this isn't what I imagined, or I didn't think I would lose this, or I didn't think that there would be this many issues, or like there's a lot of reworking and looking at whatever is occurring here. And I think this is where you're trying to make peace with things, which is why I'm like, you really need to make sure you're tuning into here and not looking at everything outside of you to like make peace with it. Like, come here, get into here. Get into here. Page of Cups in reverse. We've got the Nine of Swords in reverse. I feel like whatever has happened here has brought up a lot for you. Take this as like vice versa, right? If you feel like this is someone else that you're dealing with, this can't apply to them. But I feel like this is bringing up a lot of issues, a lot of hidden issues that maybe even if you were aware of them, they're kind of coming to life a little more now, or they have been. The Temperance card, we have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Five of Cups. I think that there is a lot of back and forth with conversation around what is and what is not. What are you doing? What am I doing? What is going on here? What is the actual issue? What's going on? Why isn't this working? We keep trying to fix this. Why is it not working? I keep trying to fix this. Why is this not working? What is it that I'm not seeing? Like, it feels like there is this missing element. And really there is, because there's no swords here. I just realized that. No swords and no wands. So I think thinking and action are two things that are missing from this. Oh, excuse me, there is swords here. So wands, maybe action is the problem. Maybe lack of action is the problem. Or lack of incentive to take action is a problem, right? Too much thinking, too many feelings, too much like physical experience in this. There's not enough doing. And I think that's going to be the missing piece in all of this. So moving on. Ace of Cups in reverse with the Ten of Cups. There is a lot that seems to be culminating. I think you miss the way something used to be. I think that you are allowing a lot of emotions to come out because maybe there was a particular dream you had in context of this. Maybe there were certain hopes you had in context of this. And it just feels like with the Lovers in reverse and the Four of Swords with the Three of Pentacles, I think you've been trying to some extent, like do damage control, like whether that's within yourself or within the situation. And this just seems like a struggle. Like it seems like everything is put on pause and it's almost like waiting for something to get better. But I don't see much doing here, and I think that's the problem. I think for some things it is nice to allow things to have their organic process. But I feel like sometimes making the choice to not do something is making a choice. And in some ways, maybe there's elements of control in there. This is with the Empress in reverse and the Eight of Swords. And the Emperor. We've got a match here. And the Five of Swords. Like, I feel like you choosing not to take control of this in a particular way, or you choosing to not do what is necessary in this is causing a problem. Because this, like, stop, wait, feel, process, think. I'm not saying any of those things are bad or that they're wrong. But I feel like whatever is happening here, these are two different processes, for sure. The way that each person is choosing to handle something is very different. And this is where I think there's a language barrier. And I think at some point, you were definitely on the same page. But it feels like the book is being ripped in half. I also think there's like financial stuff involved in this. I think that there's like concerns about that. I feel like there's concerns about the future of like how to rebuild. I think that there's concerns about other things getting in the way of being able to really like mend or fix this. I think there's like grudges that need to be addressed here. Might be super cheesy, but it really does make me think of that Tool song. And that's like literally what I can hear in my head right now. Wear the grudge like a crown, desperate to control. It's tricky, okay? So like I think the way that the perception is around this, or the way that it's being perceived, needs to change. And honestly, within the outcome of this, I'm really not sure, because there does seem to be such a lack of effort. Like, so focused on the thoughts and so focused on the feeling that the effort can't even be applied. So I think if you're really wanting to fix or resolve something, the effort has to be put in. And this isn't just like a temporary effort. This has to be real effort. This has to be effort that is tempered, effort that is diligent, effort that is like, even if it's slow and steady, it has to maintain. It has to be maintained. Right? If you want to turn it into a well-oiled machine to some extent, not in a mechanical way where it doesn't have feelings, but like, if you want to get the engine running and you want to like have progress in this, that's what it's going to take. And so I just really want that to be thought about. Because like the grudge will destroy this. Yeah, I think there's something about connecting to confidence. I think there's something about connecting to self-sufficiency. I think there's something connecting to being able to walk your talk. The King of Wands is here. That's living by your philosophy. It's walking your talk. Right? Like, don't just talk about it, be about it. And like, that energy has to be tempered. That's how fire is. Fire can't just exist as this constant burning ember. It has to be tended to. There has to be wood put into the fire. There has to be fuel. There has to be air. There has to be like there's so many components that go into keeping a fire going, and it has to be tended to. Otherwise, it either burns out of control or it goes out. So I think that's just what needs to be mindful of here. And I know this is kind of like a bleh, dreary, sad reading, but it really is about a choice because the Lovers is here. Like the Lovers in reverse is here, which I was talking about. Anytime I see that, it really makes me think of the Devil, because this isn't where that energy can exist or exude its like highest capacity or force. This is where it like really succumbs to the nature of control, or like not, this isn't breathing, you know? So whether this is a partnership, whether it is a business thing, whether it's a friendship, family member, really look at this, you know? Really look at this. Because with Judgment in the reverse, like, the decision is looming, right? The force to be reckoned with is looming. Yeah. And Devil. I mean, the Devil card is ruled by Capricorn. I mean, it's ruled by Saturn, but it's a tricky line. It's a tricky line. So just think about these things, right? If you're already leaning into this energy and you're already tapping into the spiritual stuff, then I think all the other things will follow suit. But you just, like, action is going to be necessary here at some point. I think sooner than later. So that's all I have, and I will see you guys next time.